Journey to Lemora, Chapter 28. Return to the Grove. We gathered our things and hiked back to the grove along with some of the recovered soldiers. The path was unfamiliar due to the shifting of the forest. Every now and then I could see one of the painted stones which originally marked the road to Lake Mere, some yards and others miles away from their original positions, buried beneath the dirt and roots. Lemora led the way, and we followed her through the changed woods and steep hills. Shayla approached me, and we confided to each other using spirit magic. When we return, Lestan and my master will want answers, she started to say. I want to tell the truth about the visions and how we escaped, I told her, and she shook her head. If you do this, you won't just be punished. You will be labeled a traitor and cast out of the forest, she messaged me. Yes, it's my fault he escaped. If he hadn't, we wouldn't have stormed the lake, and we wouldn't have lost so many. We do as we must. The lake was to be taken back, even if he did not escape, Shayla said then. You're right. We had to take back the magic for your people, but I want to tell Anu. I still don't trust him completely, but I know this is the right thing to do. I have to tell the truth. I dragged you into this, and I don't want you to be punished too. We just finished our first battle as guardians together. I will come with you. Okay, together then. Sure enough, as soon as we returned to the grove, a guard of Lalians came to collect us. This was it. I followed the guard to the small enclave which blocked off the rest of the grove with thick, thorny bushes. I stepped inside to see her waiting for us. Lalian was at the head of the circle. Shayla sat down to her right and Anu to her left. I sat down with Nick and Amber on either side of me. The guard stepped outside of the enclave, and the thorns closed the gap behind him. Welcome back, brave warriors. First, I wanted to thank the Guardians. You have restored our sacred lake and drove out all the Umbra. Lalian spoke in Faelarian, bowing graciously. We each bowed in turn as she continued. Our alliance has proven to be a fruitful one. Shayla has always been a prodigy of our people, and a direct pupil of mine, but now she too is a guardian. I would ask that you take her on your pilgrimage, so that she may also learn the other schools of magic. My heart leapt at the thought of Shayla joining us. I never made a friend so quickly in my life, and I felt a certain solidarity with her I never had with anyone before. My hopes were quickly shattered when I remembered what I was here to do. I swallowed hard, waiting for the right time to tell them the truth. We would be honored, Anu said. I have not seen such talented guardians in all my years. I believe Shayla and Catty were the main reasons for our success. They closed the tear in the barrier, which allowed us to use our magic to smite the Umbra. They are true champions. Anu beamed at us, and everyone cheered. Catty, if you hadn't found the tear, we would have lost. That sword you made was fine as well. How did you do that? Shayla asked. It was my guardian key. Anu told me the words, Atas Jurata, and it transformed into a weapon just for me, I explained excitedly, and my hand drifted to the chain on my neck. I will have to try it myself, Shayla noted. As a reward for your great efforts, I have a gift for you, Lalian said, and turned around to pull something out of a beautiful woven basket behind her. She held 4 shining stones from the bottom of Lake Mere. They were opaque, like frosted glass outside of the water, but when the light hit them, they shimmered with rainbows of colors. Each stone had unique symbols carved into them. These are sacred stones, which we bestow on our young when they complete their rite of passage. You followed our path, fought for our people, and have earned your marks. Catty, you receive the mark of wisdom for your excellent use of strategy. She placed the cool stone in my hand, and the symbol carved into it was a bird with an eye. I bowed to her. It wasn't just a stone, it was a treasure. She pulled out the next stone. Nick, you receive the mark of compassion. Without your tending the wounded and protecting the weak, many more would have died. He blushed as he received his stone and bowed deeply. The symbol carved into his stone was that of a great oak tree shielding the people beneath. Amber, you receive the mark of strength. The generals told me you were their greatest offense to the Umbra, taking out even more than our strongest warriors. Amber smiled gratefully and bowed as well. Her stone symbol had a beastly paw print with claws. Lastly, Shayla, my student and pride, you receive the mark of loyalty. You have never faltered and shown true loyalty and friendship to the other guardians and our people, despite the many misgivings we have. Your trust helped win this battle. You have shown the true qualities of a guardian. Lelian placed the last stone into Shayla's hand, and she bowed so low her nose nearly touched the floor. Shayla told me how badly she wanted her mark, and now that she was finally receiving it, we were all taken aback by her reaction. Instead of smiling with pride, Shayla wept. "Master, I don't deserve this. I'm not loyal at all," she cried. "I don't understand, child. What do you mean?" Lelian asked, pulling Shayla's chin up so she would face her. "It's my fault," I admitted then, and everyone turned to stare at me. There was no hiding it anymore. I had to tell the truth of what happened. I started at the beginning, with my vision of Kaylin and Lucian, and my decision to hide it from them. My trust in them was broken the moment I discovered the truth about Lucian, my long-lost brother, whom I never knew existed. The fact no one was even allowed to talk about him made me even more suspicious. I told them of my plan to talk to Kaylin concerning the vision, and I tried to leave Shayla out of it, but she cut in, insisting on telling her part of my plot. "I helped Catty because I believe she will find him. The prisoner told us he could show us where Lucian was if he had the stone. I was the one that got it for him. Nor less, master. Shana Mirlas!" Shayla cried to Lelian, but she only held her hand up to silence her. "Let us hear the rest," she said solemnly. I described the magic he performed with the map, and how we returned him to the cell afterwards. "I made him sleep, and that was the last we saw of him," I revealed at last. "Okay, so how did he escape then? If you locked him up again, he should still be there," Nick asked, scratching his head. "We forgot to take back the black opal," I said. And then I finally understood. My key became a sword. The key with a brilliant glowing gemstone, which opened a portal to a sacred realm. A realm which was a room full of doors, gateways to Lemora. I looked at the yellow gemstone on Anyu's forehead, and the green stone on Shayla's key, which she kept on a vine on her wrist. Finally, I looked down at the violet stone on the chain around my neck. "The power of the keys. Are they in the key itself or the stone in the center?" I asked then, and Anyu and Lelian looked at me cautiously. "The stones. Why do you ask?" Lelian said. "I know how he escaped. The stone wasn't just a tool, it was a guardian key." "Kaylin is a guardian," I blurted out, and everyone stared at me in shock. "What?" Amber and Nick said together. But Anyu looked at me thoughtfully. "I see. Then he formed his key to the sacred realm and escaped. This explains many questions. Thank you for coming forward with this, even if it is a bit late. Onyu growled, though he was remarkably calm. How could he be a guardian? Isn't he an Elorian? Guardians protect Lemora, and Elorians are just evil, Amber burst out loudly. Actually, my mother was Elorian. I read it in a letter I found back at the mountain temple. She wrote to me and said that she's from here, which means I'm half Elorian too, I revealed, my voice growing quieter. Just how many more secrets do you have? Nick looked at me, crestfallen. I'm so sorry, I cried. I looked around at my disappointed friends, and the tears ran down my cheeks. My secrets wounded them more than I could fathom. I waited to hear my judgment from Lelian, condemning me from the Phalarians and my journey with the others. I would have to search for Lucian and Mom all on my own after all. This all started with secrets we held from each other. I am sorry if you were deceived by me, child. Had I not withheld Lucian from you, you would have come to me. Then I would have shown you another way to find the boy, instead of driving you to consort with our enemies, Lelian said to me softly, wiping the tears from my cheeks with her long, soft fingers. You know where he is? I gasped between sobs, and Lelian smiled and nodded. I will show you, but you must first promise me from now on we will all be open with each other. No more secrets. Alun Feldoras, she pledged, placing her hand over her heart. Alun Feldoras, we all repeated, making our spirit bond. There was no breaking this promise now. After all these years, speaking his name still fills me with sorrow. When your mother left, I watched over Lucian as if he were my own. The elder wished to send him back to Eloria to be with his own kind, but I wouldn't allow it. Cat warned me against it. She knew he was in danger. I did the best that I could, and he showed great promise, but he still betrayed us all. I could see the pain in her eyes. She really did love my brother. I bowed before her and spoke in my best Phalarian. Thank you for watching over him, I stammered clumsily, and she smiled. You are a good child. Cat would be proud. I blushed awkwardly. I didn't feel proud. I had made so many mistakes, but still she could forgive me. I looked at Amber and Nick, and they gave me sympathetic smiles. It was going to be okay. They were here, and willing to listen. All my misgivings were in my own head. Lelian, Shayla, and Onyu stepped out of the secret enclosure, leaving the three of us to talk. So, are you really part Elorian? All these years, the quiet girl at the back of the class was part alien, and I never knew. Nick jested, and I punched his shoulder lightly. Don't call me an alien. I smirked at him, and he laughed. So you're saying we both have a brother out here somewhere? Amber gasped, holding her palm to her forehead. Yes, Lucian. He would be around 9 or 10 years old. I don't know much about him, but Shayla knew him. I want to find him. If you want to help, I asked, looking hopefully at them. Well, we've come this far, haven't we? Add him to the list, Nick said confidently. I'm not sharing my room when we get back, Amber said, and I shook my head. Hi everyone, it's Ella. Thanks so much for watching the latest episode of Journey to Lemora. If you like what you saw, please subscribe, like, and share the video. It really helps. I will be uploading a new episode every other week, so please stay tuned for the next episode.